Hey Internet's RJ, welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now, today's episode, we were taking a look at U.S. Bank's Smartly Rewards program. It's a program that makes them a true now relationship bank competitor. So we're going to see, is it worth joining up with the program? How should you do? And of course, what do you get if you do it? So of course, if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, again, the U.S. Bank's Smartly Rewards program is most akin to Bank of America's Preferred Rewards program that we've talked about at length, because I spent a year joining Bank of America's Preferred Rewards program, and I still am at Platinum Honors. But what it is basically all banks claim they're relationship banks because they want more of your money, right? They want a relationship with you. It's not really, but it's just a nice thing to say. Bank of America, and now U.S. Bank, is an actual relationship bank from the standpoint of, if you give me more of your money, I will give you better rewards. That's kind of how I sum up Bank of America's Preferred Rewards. The reason I did it is because you get better credit card rewards. Well, U.S. Bank is now answering the call and actually competing with Bank of America on this. And as where before, there was no real competitors, and Bank of America was the only one who did this. So U.S. Bank will break down their full program. I'm in the process of joining up now with them. So we'll cover that in a separate video, how I got in and got everything set up. But this is just, by the book, here's everything you need to do to qualify for the program. So the star of the show is going to be their 4% Smartly credit card, right? Well, it's not 4% to start. As you'll see, it's a 2% base card. But if you put enough assets with Bank of America, with U.S. Bank, then the credit card becomes a 4% card, cashback card, which is the card after my own heart. Else, it's black and it's metal. I mean, say less, right? So that's primarily the reason why you'd want to do this. Now, it's important to note, while Bank of America's program has been around for quite some time, their rewards span their entire product line. Now, usefulness is kind of up to the user, but U.S. Bank is starting with the credit card. So that's where we're going to start soon. As we go through each product, it will make a lot more sense how this works. So to start with the credit card, here you go. And you can see the I'm taping this a little bit early, but it should be out by the time you're watching it. So the bank's Smartly Visa Signature card, and as we said, it's a base 2x card. However, you see that additional 2x back over there with a certain amount of money and a savings account. So specifically here, if you go to the bottom in blue, so you could earn a total of 2.5x back if you had a balance of $5,049,999 with them. You could earn 3% back if you went from 50 to 100,000, and anything over 100,000 will be that 4% back. And to do this, all you really need to do is have a savings account and that amount of money on deposit. Of course, you need to have the credit card. This only applies to this credit card at the moment. This does not apply to the rest of the U.S. Bank line. This is the only product right now at the time of taping, so just to be clear about that. And so really, it's that easy. If you just wanted a savings account, throw in your money, and you get the card, and you're good to go. But now, a lot of people will benefit greatly from the $5,000 tranche and getting 2.5x back. There's not a lot of cards that go above 2.5. There's like the Robinhood Gold card, which is kind of spotty at best. There's like a card from a credit union that I forget what off the top of my head. It's capped though, right? So 2.5 is up there. To put in perspective, the Bank of America card that I have is 2.6, but that takes $100,000 in capital to do. But you might be like me and really want the 4x back, right? Because you're going to do it, you might as well do it. And if you like that, well, you probably don't want 100,000 just in a savings account, even though at the time of taping this savings account is like 4.1%. Not terrible, but it's not the best use of 100 grand, right? So how else could you go about this? We just covered it. That's all you need for Smartly: the savings account, the credit card, the money, and you're good. But there's probably a better way to do this. So as you'll notice, U.S. Bank's products are kind of conveniently linked together. So we take a look at this page, this kind of from the terms and conditions. You can see that second bullet point there is have combined balances with the U.S. Bank in open consumer checking accounts, money market savings accounts, savings CDs or IRAs, U.S. Bank corporate investments, personal trust accounts, business accounts, you name it, right? And then they give you, the tiers we just talked about. But then if you go down even further, the combined balances are based on the average daily balance of the previous 3 months, calculated monthly, or the accounts open less than 3 months, the average daily balance of the applicable time frame. So you're looking at basically a 3-month moving average. So each month it looks like they should reevaluate where you're at. Again, we got to see how it goes. I did actually, because I'm starting to move them, I did get an email from them saying, hey, like you're in like the first tier or something, because I just started with the checking savings and I just got an IRA open. But again, we'll cover that in a second video. So you do get notification. I got mine on like November 2nd, which is like an email that showed up, said, hey, here you go. Here's where your tier is at. So it seems to be like that. They will calculate this every month. The other part here to take away is that it is, while you have to have a savings account, all the money doesn't have to be in said savings account. You can have it all in those other deposit accounts, which is fantastic because you can see where we're going with this, but we'll go in order here. So let's start with their savings account product, the one you actually need. So as you can see, again, remember at the time of taping, this will probably change because they've already said they're going to cut rates some more, but you look at 4.1% APY if you have Smartly savings balance of at least $25,000. So remember that. You're not just going to get 4.1 no matter what. You've got to have 25 grand with them. The savings account, easy enough. You can do a money market one if you wanted to. I went with the savings. As you'll see, there is a monthly fee of $5. How do you waive the $5 fee? Well, wouldn't you know it, if you have our next product, which is a checking account, the checking account actually does waive the annual fee. So you get one of those, you get the savings account, cool, get the checking account, Smartly checking, makes the savings free, easy enough. Now, their checking account also has fees, right? But what do they do to waive the fee for the checking account? Well, if you have a credit card, then they will waive the fee for the checking account. So you can kind of see how that goes. Now, luckily enough, they have plenty of no annual fee credit cards. The Cash Plus is good. The Altitude Go is not as good as it used to be. I think that more cards have caught up to it, but it's still a really good card. And then, of course, the Smartly card, which is why we're here. So you should be fine there because you want a credit card. So now you can see how it starts to work. Credit card, checking, savings, those are all free now. But you're like, well, you didn't really answer my questions. I don't want to put 100 grand in a checking account. Also not helpful. I hear you. Well, luckily enough, you can bring in some of their wealth management products, which can be, brokerages or IRA. So myself, I'm going Roth IRA personally, but you can do that as well. So we pull up their next product page, your third product sheet here. See these happy people because, they're just getting into the Smartly rewards for sure. They're all about it. But the point is, again, they have traditional Roth, SEP IRAs. I mean, you can do brokerage too, but the thing I wanted to point your attention to here is that once you know it, there's a fee on here too, potentially. So it's like a $4.95. However, if you have a linked checking account, you get 100 free trades a year, and then that $4.95 I think would kick in after that. 100 trades is a lot. I know there should be no fees. Honestly, I mean, in their defense, there should be no fees, but 100 trades is a lot for the average person who probably doesn't know what they're doing. So I'm not really justifying it, but I'm also saying probably don't worry about it because it's probably not you. And if it is you, well, then you're probably using you probably know what you're doing. You're probably over at Schwab or Fidelity or something. But anyhow, there is that. Now, in addition to that, the brokerages, the retirement accounts, at least they charge a $50 annual fee for assets under $250,000, which is somewhat annoying. When you're talking about retirement accounts, again, I'm not necessarily trying to justify it, but to put it into context, $250K is actually not a lot of money in an IRA. Mine was like $210,000 at its peak before I tried to split it off and move half of it over here. So, if you've been working long enough, it's really not that much money, which doesn't justify it because they probably shouldn't charge a fee at all. Bank of America doesn't charge me a fee at all, and they don't have like limits on trades and stuff. But all that to say, one, you can do that, get the product, having the linked checking account mostly takes care of it. Yeah, unless you got $250K, there's no real way that I've found around that $50, unfortunately, but I think with a 4% card, even if you're doing the 3% card, I do think it will be worth it. So I plan to just eat that $50 fee. We'll talk about some things that can help you though out in the end. So that's the thing. It can be as simple as you want it to be, but let's put it together here with what I call this last slide, which is order of operations. There's one more thing to know about. So the thing with the U.S. Bank is, while they're the 5th largest bank, the question you got to ask to get started is, are you in service area? Now, service area means that you have a U.S. Bank branch in your state. So if you have a U.S. Bank branch in your state, you may proceed. You can open whatever product you want first. It's fine. If you're not, you need to get a credit card first, which is weird, but at the same time, you're here for a credit card, so it kind of works out anyways. So, you would get your Smartly card, give it a few days, and you would be considered a customer. I know this because we talk about US Bank promotional offers on the second channel a lot, and I have I'm in Michigan. I don't have a US Bank branch here, so I had to get a credit card first. Business cards would work too, technically, if you wanted. But again, just keep it simple because we're here for one card. There used to be other ways around this, but again, the simplest way for this exercise is a credit card. So we've covered that point. Now, it's not so much the order of operations after that really matters, but just what we covered. Savings account is required for Smartly, right? Cover that. The checking account makes the savings account free. This checking account is also free with a linked credit card. Those will all be in your same account, linked together, so you're good to go. Now, if you did not pick up the credit card, you might want to get the credit card next. Again, we covered the time range, so you don't necessarily have to have your Smartly card day one because it's going to take a while. Even if you're transferring your money, it's going to take a while to get to your whatever tier you're after. So just remember, the Smartly card is the only one that is affects right now. Then you could add in the brokerage account as well. Again, 100 free trades with e-statements and a checking account, and that $50 fee for assets under 250K. So those are the products that you probably want to ideally do this the best. It's really not that complicated. It seems more complicated than it is, I think. Again, I have the checking, savings, and the IRA set up now. I'm just working on the funding piece, but it's really not that bad. So I will say, the last thing I'll say here is, again, you may know we have a website here, profitablecontent.com, and a second channel called Run on the Bank. This focuses on bank promotions. So what you're going to want to do, what I'm trying to do, is look for bank promotions specifically for the checking account. Right now, at the time of taping, the best they have is a $450 offer. So that's the one I went after for opening a checking account, completing some direct deposits, right? That's likely to change in the future whenever you're watching this. Sometimes they have checking and savings offers. The savings offers have historically never been good, like deposit amount to payout ratio. So, you could do it because you're going to move the money over there anyways. I think the highest I've seen is like $600 or $800 combined for checking savings. But it's been a while since I've seen that one. If you're going to do it anyways, then so be it. But the savings offers have never been really good, but it would make sense in this scenario. I've never seen promotional offers for brokerage accounts, for traditional brokerages or retirement accounts. Never seen them with US Bank. Only one I've seen them have is for their robo investor that had like $100 promotion that I've done. I mean, you could stick $100,000 in the robo one if you wanted to. I mean, that's fine. I wouldn't, but you could do it. So all that to say is, when you're going through here, the idea is to line up as many. Don't necessarily just start applying for products, right? Start looking for where you can get promotional offers at. These are the ones I've seen, the checking, and then sometimes the checking savings combo from US Bank. Again, I haven't seen anything from brokerages overall. But overall, I don't think it's really that hard to set up. Again, I mean, you're talking about just a few applications and you're good. And they all do link nicely together. I can see why that trading piece would bother some people. Again, for me personally, all my stuff is like index funds. Like, I'm really making my yearly contribution and then putting it somewhere and then really not doing anything else with it. If some dividends come through, I may, do another trade, but I'm a long way from 100. I mean, again, if you're doing 100, in my opinion, you probably know what you're doing, and you're not mixing the two between this and just for credit card rewards. So overall, I do think it's going to be worth it. I'm super jazzed, as you would have guessed, to get a 4% card. I do also want to stress that when I go through here, I generally say 4% card, because for me, if you know me well enough, I want the big one, right? But for a lot of people, don't discount that 2.5% tier. That 2.5% tier, and even that 3% tier, is going to be really good for a lot of people. Myself, I've just been trying to 5x back everything, so of course I want the 4x back card. But that 2.5 and that 3 is really good, and that's the thing I do think it has over Bank of America. They're going after the shiny thing first, which is the credit card. It's kind of why I joined Preferred Rewards to begin with, but the Preferred Rewards credit cards probably aren't as competitive as this, but Preferred Rewards applies to all their products, and in time they could definitely expand smartly, right? So for right now, it's just for the credit card, and they do expand it. We'll do another version of this in the future. So all that to say, don't let me discourage you because you're not doing the 4% one. 2.5 and 3% are going to be very good for the majority of people, and then 4% is probably for those people who like you just want to wring all the money possible out of the bank, which is me. If that's you too, well then, or you want to get to that stage, well then definitely consider sticking around. But anyways, that's Smartly. So get subscribed because I'm going to do a whole video on how I get in. You already know it's in process. I just didn't want to confuse the two issues, but that's everything you need to know right now. So, of course, go forward and conquer. Let me know how you're going to do it, which tier you're going after, or if you're doing something else entirely. I would love to hear your thoughts on that as well. But of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channels. We're posting content just like this every single week. And, of course, we're right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. As we've said, every single day over on ProfitableContent.com, which is the channel's blog. It's always linked down below for you, and on the homepage. We not only post the latest news stories, we post blank promotions like US Bank, and we have credit card offers. Now, nothing for US Bank, but you can get a Chase or Amex card as well to go along with it. Start covering off your earning categories at every pass. But anyways, that'll be down below for you. But anyways, guys, that'll do it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.